Hello, my name is Marcos Olvera, and today I'm going to be talking about why companies should hire former prisoners. So, first off, let's talk about why it's important for former prisoners to work. The first reason why it's very important for former prisoners to work is that we want to decrease the recidivism rates. And basically, what that means is we want to decrease the amount of people who've been to jail going back to jail. And a big reason why this is so important for them to work is because if they can't legally make money, then they're much more likely to recommit a crime. And this could be seen when the New York Times did a article about a prisoner named Michael Mirsky who failed to make his child support payments and went to prison. And once he got out of prison, he couldn't find a job, and he still had to pay child support payments. So he was facing going back to prison for the exact same reason. Another reason why it's really important for prisoners to get the opportunity to work is that there's a direct correlation between crime rates and unemployment rates. There was a study done by Georgia Tech where they found that um, cities that had the highest crime rates were also known to have high unemployment rates. Basically, hiring former prisoners is good for the community as a whole and for the country as a whole because the more people we have working, the less people we have committing crimes. Not only that, but also it's really important that we give former prisoners an equal opportunity to get a job because at the way it is right now, many of them really struggle trying to find work. And because of that, it's the reason why so many people, once they go to jail, they can't stop going back to jail. You might be wondering what the purpose of my argument is, and the purpose is to try and convince employers to hire former prisoners and also to lower the stigma against former prisoners in the workplace. Now, a big problem with America is that many employers in America are very hesitant to hire former prisoners. Part of that is due to the fact that there's been a stigma against hiring them for a long time. For instance, the University of Wisconsin-Madison surveyed multiple employers, and they found that 40% of them were not willing to hire anyone with any criminal record. So yeah, again, there's a real stigma in America. Part of why that stigma exists and why employers are very hesitant to hire former prisoners is because they worry that the former prisoner might do something to damage the reputation of their company. And if somebody who went to prison and then started working at a company did something that could make the company look bad, somebody higher up in the company might get angry at the person who employed them. So if you're a manager, you might have the regional manager get mad at you for hiring someone like that. Not only that, but also many employers worry about whether or not former prisoners are really qualified for some of these jobs. And it's different case by case. So for some former prisoners, they aren't qualified for the job they apply for, and it's justified. But some former prisoners are very qualified for the job they apply for, and many employers do not give them a fair chance because that stigma exists towards hiring them. Another reason why employers are concerned with hiring former prisoners is that they're worried about what their employees are thinking. And a study done by the Society for Human Resource Management found that most employees are actually fairly comfortable working with a former prisoner, which they found that about 3 out of 4 employees were comfortable with it. But on the other end, most of them were not. comfortable working with a former prisoner who had a violent criminal record, with which it was only about 1 out of 3 employees felt comfortable doing that. And that really leads into the next topic, which at the end of the day, employees are concerned about their employees' safety, and some of them worry that if they hire a former prisoner, that person might be a danger in the workplace. Now, what are the benefits of hiring a former prisoner? Well, the first benefit is that because many former prisoners have limited job opportunities, most of them take the opportunities that they do get very seriously. So when you talk to employers about their employees who have been to jail and who have had criminal records, most of the time they're known to be hardworking and they're known to take their jobs extremely seriously because they understand that they have limited opportunities. Second benefit of hiring a former prisoner is the WOTC, or the Working Opportunity Tax Credit, which basically allows employers to get a tax credit off of whatever employee's salary who's been to prison, and that tax credit can get up to 40%, so employers can save a lot of money. The third benefit of hiring former prisoners are financial incentives. So many states and different cities will give employers incentives to hire former prisoners. So, for instance, Philadelphia has something called the Fair Chance Hiring Initiative, where basically they give employers who hire former prisoners reimbursements. Not only can hiring former prisoners help employers save money, but if an employer is worried about losing money from hiring a former prisoner, and there's something called the federal bonding program, where basically they can get a bond for the first 6 months of when they hire a former prisoner. And if they want to basically get any money from any losses they incurred from hiring that person, then they can get a reimbursement for those losses. And yeah, that's my PowerPoint. And here are my sources. Thank you for listening.